This video is brought to you by the wonderful people supporting me on Patreon. Thank you for making videos like this possible by sending me a monthly tip. Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Louie, I go by they them pronouns. I'm an illustrator and right now I am on my way to go to a museum, which I'm very excited about. I haven't been to a museum or an exhibition in ages, and if you've watched last week's video, I was on a sort of like inspiration treasure hunt, and this week is sort of like the follow-up or part 2 of that treasure hunt, because going to museums always sparks my creativity. So I'm looking forward to that. The museum where I'm based currently has an exhibition going on about Picasso, and I'm slightly nervous because I have strong opinions about Picasso. But yeah, I'm trying to hold back and not judge an exhibition that I haven't even seen yet. So I'll share my thoughts about Picasso with you later, after actually having been to the museum, and now I will take you with me. Let's go and look at some art. So I just got back from the exhibition and I have thoughts. I think it is incredibly interesting how art and art history are presented to us. Basically what I have learned in school about Picasso and what was reaffirmed in the exhibition I just went to is that Picasso was like this really creative, genius, talented person who had a massive impact on European art history. And I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that Picasso had an impact. But the exhibition and the audio guide basically introduced you to Picasso as someone who's incredibly talented, innovative, coming up with new ideas, never seen before ideas. And that was like the main thing in the exhibition. In European art history, there's a thing called cubism, which is basically the idea of taking a subject, taking it apart, analysing its parts, looking at the same thing from different perspectives and reassembling it all back together in a more abstract shape. And Picasso was basically one of the co-founders of Cubism in Europe, and we say that, like European society deems that as something really important for art history, which again, I'm not denying. But those are the things that are talked about in like mainstream education, in school, in maybe university. I haven't studied art history, so I don't really know. But in like exhibitions like this one, and the information that I missed in that exhibition was stuff that I've learned from other marginalized people about Picasso and his art, like from watching Hannah Gadsby's Netflix special called Douglas, I've learned that Picasso was incredibly sexist, which shouldn't be a surprise, but yeah, here we are. And he had a relationship, putting it in air quotes, with a 17-year-old girl when he was like much older, hence the air quotes, because no. And through following black artists on Instagram, I have learned that Picasso and his like innovation actually is connected to colonialism, because his whole idea of cubism came after he was introduced to art from African countries. Yeah, neither thing was actually mentioned in the audio guide or at some point during this exhibition, which left me a little bit disappointed, because if someone like Picasso happened today, I really hope that we would stand up and say, like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Number one, sexism. No, we're over that, we've done that, please, no. And the other thing is, like, being a copycat is just not cool anymore. And being a copycat, being a white, straight, sexist man, European man, stealing ideas from black artists, like, just stop. And I really wish the exhibition would have recognized that in some way, because I think it's important to actually do both and say, like, yeah, Picasso had a big influence on European art history, but Picasso also was this person who did all these things that rarely, like, someone ever talks about. And I think it's just really important to reflect on who are we celebrating as a creative genius and who doesn't get that recognition. And I think that's just very telling for us as a society. And I don't really know what to do with that line of thought just yet, but maybe I'll figure it out while I turn my museum sketches into something. right now I'm nearly done with the piece I've been working on for the last few days, and I thought I'd take a minute to share my current thoughts with you, because I think all of Picasso's bullshit obviously doesn't mean you can't be inspired by his art. I was very inspired by his art. I was inspired by that exhibition. But I think there's a difference between being privately inspired by something and publicly highlighting it as a creative role model. So with that comes a responsibility for people like me who talk about things on the internet. Like, do your research. But there is even more responsibility for people who actually curate exhibitions like this. And of course, I don't have any insight into the behind the scenes of that museum or the exhibition, or like what the process of that was. But if you run a museum or you curate an exhibition and put what I'll just assume what was a whole lot of money into that exhibition, maybe you should also put a little bit of effort into rewriting art history and like contextualizing artists outside of a white male European perspective. But yeah, that's just me. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on the whole separate the art from the artist debate. The illustration I created is going to be available in my online shop at the time this video is coming out, and the link to my shop and all other places you can find me on the internet is, like as usual, in the caption. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and of course thank you to all the people supporting me on Patreon and allowing me to go to museums and make videos like this one, and I will see you next week. Bye!